Welcome back to my channel again. This is Captain Cherry. Today we are going to discuss about vessel engaged in fishing situations in the oral examination. All right. Now, why these situations are tricky, you will come to know at the end of the lecture. All right. What is the first thing I want to discuss over here is that there is something called fishing vessel and vessel engaged in fishing. So now you tell me which is the correct term. Many of us are using this term called fishing vessel while answering the oral examination. That is totally wrong. There is no term like a fishing vessel, but ROR, if you're reading, most of the paragraphs are using the term vessel engaged in fishing. And of course, vessel engaged in fishing has its own definition, right? The term vessel engaged fishing means any vessel fishing with nets, lines, trawls, or other fishing apparatus which restricts maneuverability, but not a vessel fishing with trawling lines or other fishing apparatus which does not restrict maneuverability. So, what I mean to say that use the correct term in the orals, right? Because a fishing vessel might not be in a situation uh, like a vessel engaged in fishing, right? Okay, a fishing vessel might maneuver or she might be capable of maneuvering, where a vessel engaged in fishing might not be. Okay, understand? So whenever you are answering, please use the word vessel engaged in fishing. That is the first bit. What is the second thing which I want to discuss is why these situations are difficult to handle in the oral examination. Because if you see a screen now, there is a shape over here. Okay, so this is a shape which has been displayed on a vessel engaged in fishing, which tells you that a gear is extending more than 150 meter. Now, what do you mean by more than 150 meter? More than 150 meter means it can be 150.1 to maybe 3 nautical mile or 4 nautical mile, who knows. So you don't know how much is the span of the net she's using. Are you getting my point or not? And that is why when you are altering, okay, you need to make sure that you consider a gear also while taking action as far as vessel engagement fishing is concerned, right? Okay, let's get started with the first situation now. Vessel engaged in fishing, okay, is crossing me from starboard to port. I am a pdv following a general direction of traffic flow, and that is what is our first step, right? If you've seen my past videos, describe the scene to the surveyor. What is the second thing? Second thing is, again, going back to the basic, if the range is decreasing, bearing is constant, okay, and the risk of collision is existing, then what is the third step? Apply the rules. And in this case, because you are in the TSS, rule 10 is applicable. And if you read 10A, it says all the other rules are applicable, which means if I make a flow chart, what rules come to your mind between vessel engagement fishing and PDV? It is rule number 18, right? But rule number 18, if you read carefully, there is a disclaimer at the top, except 9, 10, and 13, otherwise may require. So you have to come back and see if there is anything written in rule number 10 regarding vessel engagement fishing. And if you read, there is one paragraph which actually talks about this, and this is known as 10I. Okay, so what 10I is saying, okay, what 10I is saying. So if you have your ROR books, please read that. A vessel engaged in fishing shall not impede the passage of any vessel following a general direction flow. So if you are a vessel engaged in fishing, you cannot impede any passage, any passage. So they are not talking about a safe passage over here. There is a difference between 10I and 10J. 10J talks about 10J talks about safe passage of a power driven vessel, and here they are talking about any passage of any vessel following a general direction flow. So it is any passage, any vessel following a general direction flow. In this case, she is doing that, right? So I am going to give her 5-shot rapid blast to draw her attention. But if she is not taking action again, okay, then I need to take action as a stand on vessel. Okay. And for vessel engaged in fishing, right, I am open to both alteration to port and starboard, right? Because it is not a power driven vessel. But we will, before taking the action, will go to rule number 8. The final action will come from rule number 8 itself. And rule 8 says alteration is the best action. So let's think about starboard alteration first. Can I do starboard alteration or not? So I'm thinking hard. Can I do? Yes, I can do. There is a sufficient sea room over here. Okay, this is a sea room which I have got. But can I go to starboard? No, I cannot go to starboard because I have a gear exceeding 150, more than 150 meters. Are you getting my point or not? I have a gear exceeding 150 meter or more. So I go to starboard. I don't know how much is the span of that gear. So I might need to do a broad alteration. Okay. And I might need time to clear that vessel. So alteration to starboard is not a good option for me over here, right? Because I don't know how much is the length of that particular net. What about port? Now, I have told in my previous videos also that please look the location of the vessel also, where she is located. Now, in this case, she is located on the port side, right? So, if I alter to port, I will end up in a zone, traffic separation zone, and that will be a breach of rule number 10. I can use traffic separation zone only when I am in imminent danger. Right now, I have a reduction. I have a reduction in my hand, right? Correct? I have a reduction in my hand. So if surveyor is asking, can you alter to port? So you will humbly say to a surveyor, yes, I can, sir. But the better action is reduction of speed because of the location of my vessel. Because my vessel is very close to the traffic separation zone. If I alter and if I end up in a traffic separation zone, that will be a breach of rule number 10 because I am already at a safe speed and I should be able to tackle it by reduction of speed. Are you getting my point or not? So when you are dealing with vessel engaging fishing, such kind of situations in your oral examination, please pay attention to the location of the vessel also, right? And please also see carefully if there is any net or not on a vessel engaging fishing. Are you getting my point or not? Now, say if this gear is not there. Okay, so if this gear is not present or this gear is not present, now can you go to starboard? If you see no shape over there, if there is no shape and that shape is not present, then can you go to starboard? Of course, you have enough room on your starboard side now. There is no problem. Okay. Anyways, you are, little bit off the port side of the center of the TSS, right? Correct. Right. So obviously you have a sufficient sea room. You can go to starboard, but only when there is no net over there. Are you getting my point or not? Now look at this situation now. She's crossing from port to starboard. Okay, right? She's crossing from port to starboard now. So what happens in this case? Now, when a vessel engaged in fishing is coming out of a zone, please pay attention to her this part also. Why I'm telling you this part? Because this part clearly is telling you that she has entered Okay, she's entered, right? Correct or not? She's leaving the zone and she's entered. Right or wrong? So this is very, very important also for you to pay attention. Now, what is the next step? Okay, next step is looking at the gear. And mind you, you have got gear in this situation also. You have got gear, right? And this is what is a gear, correct? So again, exceeding 150 meter more, can you go to port? Obviously, going to port, you don't know how is the span of that particular fishing net, right? So it is better for you not to go to port until it is an emergency. Correct or not? Again, rule number 10, rule number 10A, 10A says all the other rule applies. You go to rule number 18. Rule number 18 say go and check rule number 10 first and then come back to me. 10I says a vessel engaged in fishing shall not impede any passage of a vessel following a general direction flow. So she is doing that. I will give her 5 shot rapid blast. If she is not taking any action, then I will reduce speed in this case. Right? If say this gear extending 150 meter more was not there. So for example, this shape is not there, right? Then you would have easily altered to port because going to port will clear the vessel engaged in fishing faster. Correct or not? Because you will start doing that heading. So it will start, opening up the bow crossing range, right or wrong? Maybe bow crossing range must be zero or very close quarter situation to your vessel. But once you alter to port, obviously the bow crossing range will increase. Are you getting my point or not? Okay, right? Now I was telling you about the head of a vessel engaged in fishing. That is also very, very important. Now look at the head of this particular vessel, head of the vessel engaged in fishing. If you see vessel engaged in fishing is inside the traffic separation zone, and if you see MGN 364 says that vessel engaged in fishing are allowed to do fishing inside a traffic separation zone. Okay, and they can do any heading inside a traffic separation zone. Inside a traffic separation zone. If okay, she's inside a traffic separation zone, you need to pay attention. Now, how to answer this? So you will again describe a scene that you are following a general direction flow, you're a PDB. She is a vessel engaging fishing crossing from port to starboard. But in this case, as per MGN 364, vessel engaging fishing can do any heading inside a traffic separation zone. Moreover, she is allowed to do fishing over there. There is no problem. So I will monitor her first. But if the range is decreasing, bearing is constant, risk of collision is existing, then I will give her 5 shot rapid blast. So 5 shot rapid blast. Why? Because again 10I is applicable, right? There is no value of rule number 18 over here. Rule number 10 will or 10I will supersede rule number 18. Right? If she does not take any action, okay, then I will alter to starboard. Can I alter? Now look at this. Starboard is the option, port is the option. Starboard and then reduction is obviously is the option. Now, can I go to starboard? No, I cannot because again, sea room is very, very less. I can only will be using inshore traffic zone when I am in a deep trouble or in the emergency when there is no other, possibility of avoiding the collision. So starboard is out first. What about port? Port, now I can go to port. It will clear the vessel engaged in fishing faster, but port is also big no. Why? Because suddenly if I alter to port and suddenly it changes the heading from this heading of 0900, suddenly it takes a southerly heading And if I alter to port, it will be a close quarter situation. Understood or not? So port is also gone. So what I'm left with is reduction of speed. Are you getting my point or not? So that is also very, very important. Looking into the fact that where a vessel engaged in fishing is placed. If she would have come out like this, I am 200% sure she is going, she is definitely going to cross. But if she is, see, if she is in position number 2, which is this, she can suddenly take a turn on port because she is allowed to do any heading inside a traffic separation zone, any heading. Understood or not? So if she takes a sudden starboard turn and I also alter to port, I will be in a close quarter situation. Right? Okay? Understood? Now. Now, she is again vessel engaged in fishing. Okay. And you are over here. This is your location of the vessel. Okay. And again, range is decreasing, bearing is constant, risk of collision is existing. If that occurs, definitely you are overtaking this vessel. So now it becomes an overtaking situation, right? And rule number 13 will be straight away applicable. Rule number 10A says all the other rule applies. It will take you to rule number 13, right? And in rule number 13, it is clearly written notwithstanding anything contained in rules of part B, section 1 and second. Whatever is written in section 1 and second, it doesn't matter to rule number 13. Rule number 13 is overtaking and it is a boss rule. So who is responsible in this case? You are responsible as a PD. Okay, so you are responsible. So in this case, now you will not be making a mistake of sounding a 5-shot rapid blast. If you do so, you will fail. Okay, right? Because now 10I is not applicable here. It is not applicable. What is applicable? Rule number 30.